Hi, welcome to Simply Playing, my new knitting podcast. My name is Anne, also known as Simply Playing on Ravelry. So, since this is my first episode, I thought I'd do a little introduction so that you could get to know me a little bit better. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I homeschool my 9-year-old son named Sam, and we, along with my husband and our black lab, Easy, who is so easygoing, live in a small yellow and blue house in Minnesota. My background in knitting is I started to knit when I was 7 and took a class after school. And we made slippers. And I made one, not one pair, but just one single slipper of this lovely acrylic yarn that was dark pink to light pink and white variegated. So obviously it didn't stick. My mom tried teaching me after that. She learned herself from a book, so she was not too confident in her technique, so at that time didn't really work that well either. So I really didn't start knitting until grad school in the 90s when I almost completed a sweater, but then grad school came to completion and I moved back to Minnesota and I stopped knitting until about 2008 when a really good friend asked if I would accompany her to a community education class on how to knit. And I told her, well, I already know how to knit, but if you need, the support, I'm happy to go with you. So that was kind of the beginning and the end. I mean, it was a class to make a felted bag. The idea being you'd learn how to cast on, knit, purl, decrease, and then all your mistakes would disappear in the wash and you'd have this beautiful felted bag. And I have been using that bag and ever since, about 8 years now. And I love it, and it was a great class. Now, my girlfriend loved it, made a few things, and then that was it. She was done, and she was no longer did not have the knitting bug, but the knitting bug definitely bit me, and it definitely stuck. So here I am today. And that brings me to my first section, which I'm calling Playing with Sticks and String, which is what my husband calls my current projects. So currently, I am remaking that very bag that I started with. It's a pattern by Yvonne Ayer, and oddly enough, it's not on Ravelry. It's a very simple pattern. I got it as a class handout, so I'm not sure where it would be available. But I made 2 handles. You can kind of tell it's kind of an I-cord composition. And I'm working on the second. Oops, bit of a mess here. Working on the second, and because I started this so long ago, my needles, now I know some people still like these, but I've kind of grown not to anymore, but they are those clover needles that you can get at like Michael's or any big box stores. And the handles are done on size 11s. I think that's 8mm. And the bag itself, which I have yet to start, is done on US 13s, which is 9mm. The colors for my bag, it's going to be striped. It's going to be navy blue, a darker yellow, a yellow, a cream, a yellow, a darker yellow, and then navy blue again. So pretty simple. And here are my beautiful colors. It's all out of Cascade 220. And like I said, it's navy blue. This one I believe they call straw. Lemon yellow. And just a natural. And that is my bag. And it's a kind of a selfish project. I already have a purse. I really don't need another purse, but I'm becoming, I'm rather matchy-matchy, I guess would be the cute way of saying it. I'm kind of embarking on into minimalism. Now, don't freak out. I know people hear that word and they're thinking, oh, stark white room, you don't own anything, but minimalism, like most things, is different for many different people, and I think what it is it's just finding the balance where your possessions don't rule your life, but you rule your life and your possessions just add to your joy. So I'm trying to get to a spot where that is the case for me. And one of the ways I'm doing that is I'm limiting the colors that I wear because, well, as you know, you get that one red top that doesn't go with anything else you own, and then you need to get something else to go with it and something else to go with it, and pretty soon you have like 8 new pieces of clothing when you really only needed one thing. So I wear basically navy blue, yellow, and cream, and a little bit tan. And that's it. And I'm pretty happy with it so far, but it definitely has changed my knitting and my knitting choices. And so I do knit a fair amount for other people as well, and that is my next project, which is for my husband. It is out of the book Guy Knits. Oh, we got kind of a lot of reflection going on there. Guy Knits. Don't you love it, with the guy on the motorcycle? So macho. It's the Best of Knitters magazine. And the vest I'm knitting for my husband is this one. Just a very plain, simple stocking knit vest. My husband works in IT, and IT people are always stuck in the basement. I don't know why that is, but anyway, he's freezing because here in Minnesota, whenever it gets just to be just a little bit warm, but companies just seem to crank on the air conditioner. It's all, you know, something's always on. It's either heat or cold, but usually he's cold. So this is his vest so far. See, it's just got some 1x1 ribbing along the bottom, which I did with US size 4s, which is 3.5 millimeter, and then the body is done on US size 6, which is 4 millimeter. And it is in Valley Yarn, sold at Webb's, what is it, Stockbridge. It's 50% alpaca, 50% wool, so it should be really nice and warm. And, well, it's going pretty well, with the exception of the fact that I cannot count. So I'm to the point where I've been knitting in the round on my Knitter's Pride wooden interchangeable needles, which I love. And I'm to the point where you split for the front and the back. And the counts don't match. And they don't match by 10 stitches. I'm 10 stitches off between my stitches for the front and my stitches for the back. So it's having a little bit of a timeout in my knitting basket. Do you have a knitting basket? I love mine. See, it's got a cute little bottom handle. I got it at St. Kate's craft fair that they used to have here in Minnesota many years ago. My mom had a knitting basket when I was growing up. I thought it was the coolest thing. So I needed to get one too. But anyway, it's having a little timeout in the knitting basket until I work up the nerve to, you know, string it on a larger string, try it on my husband, see if it's going to be too tight. If it's too tight, I got to start completely over, which it's a lot of stocking knit. So I'm a little nervous about it, which is why I haven't done it yet. But I do need to get on it because it is a Father's Day gift, which is coming up in about 3 weeks here in the U.S. So that is currently what's on my needles. The next segment I have is show and tell, which is about my finished objects, because everybody loves show and tell, right? I only have one finished object today because I'm trying not to finish too much because the Knit Girls Stash Dash is coming up. And if you don't know who the Knit Girls are, you definitely should look them up. They have a fantastic podcast that is so funny and so informative and just lots of fun. Anyway, Stash Dash, if you don't know what it is, it's a knitting marathon that's held from the end of May to kind of mid-August. And it's just to see how much meterage you can get done. Laura, one of the Knit Girls, is a school librarian, so it's during the summer months when she does not have kids. So what I'm showing you today was my Mother's Day cast on. It is Isolde Teague's, let's see, getting used to this. It's Isolde Teague's Snapdragon Tam. And color's a little bit better back here. You can see it. It's in Madeline Tosh DK, the Candlewick colorway, which I love, which has unfortunately been discontinued. I did buy up, I must say, some other yarn bases in the same colorway before it's gone. But anyway, here it is. I love it. It's got a little beret feel to it. So the funny thing about it was that it was, I think Isolde recommended US size 7 needles, which for the stitch count I thought was really large. And I went all the way down to size US 4s, 3.5 millimeter, because I knew from previous hats that I've knit that that's just what I needed, and I'm really glad I did, because that was it's snug, but it's not like going to be pressure holding it on. And then I switched to US 6 4-point millimeters for the body of the hat. And now the only thing I did different was on these, what I think of as the little leaves or the little flower bud part, I did not, in her pattern there is, ooh, where's my finger? Okay, let's see, right here. There would be a hole, the base, and well, this is Minnesota, you don't want holes in your hat. So as cute as it was, I did a different make 4. What I did was a make 1 right, and then in the next stitch, I knit front, I knit back, I knit front again, and then next to that I made 1 left. So you had the 1 stitch that you worked, and then the 4 stitches that you made for the make 4. And that's the only thing I did differently. And it is a lovely pattern. You block it over a dinner plate, and it comes out in this lovely shape, and it's just ready to wear. It's wonderful. So it was a pattern I would highly recommend. And this pattern and everything I talk about will be on the show notes, and the show notes are on my website, which is simplyplaying.blogspot.com, and I'll have that listed at the end of the video, so you don't need to know how to spell it or anything. So next segment, which would be forgotten toys. So forgotten toys in the knitting world I think of as whips, and I like to go through my whips because I like to remember, you know, what I have going, and you know, did I like this, did I not like this? So I just think it's good to know what's happening, you know, so that you don't like all of a sudden have an avalanche. I have a fair amount of whips, so this is relatively a new process that I'm starting, but here's my first whip. It's a sock. Can I get it all in there? Yeah. It is Turtle Toes yarn, which I believe is a 75 merino, 25% nylon from, and she has a shop on Etsy, and this is the Ohm colorway, and it's got like a violet, a dark indigo, turquoise, lime green, yellow, orange, red, and the orange and the red are really close together, and the violet and the blue are really close together in color. But I didn't really use, I did this toe up. I didn't really use much of a pattern. I cast on at the end 64 stitches, what I ended up with, and I used one US 1s, which I believe is 2.25 millimeter needles, and then I did use a pattern for the short row heel. I did Laura Linneman's my son is distracting me in the background. Just a second. Hi, I'm back. So my son got his snack and all is well with the world. So anyway, back to my current whip. So yeah, I used the Knit Girls Laura Linneman short row heel, where between the yellow and the green, I had just knit this as a tube with a 3x1 rib, 3 knit, 1 purl, and then I just snipped a stitch. And then I unraveled it, and then I followed Laura's directions for the heel. And that's my dog in the background, if you can hear that crinkling noise as she's sitting in her chair. So anyway, I have this sock done way back in October of 2015. And where's the other sock? Well, it's living here in my Zigzag Stitches bag with the cute little bunnies and the squirrels. Can you see that? I really love this fabric. I actually bought 2 other bags with the same fabric, which, when you know about all those cute project bags out there, seems a little ridiculous, but I really like it. So yeah, second sock. Yeah, second sock syndrome right here. This is all I got. So I made the toes a little too pointy. I should have cast on more stitches originally, but they still work. And I'm knitting them with 2 circulars, which is my favorite method for toe up. And these are the Chiagu, I believe is how you say it, metal fixed circular needles with the lace tips, and I really, really like them. I would highly recommend them. They've got, I love their cable. It's nice and stiff, but not so stiff or that it's unwieldy, that it kind of moves on its own. It really keeps a nice shape. So I like that. So yeah, so Turtle Pearls socks. I'm hoping to get back to them, hoping to finish them for Stash Dash. They are my kind of in my purse sock, but I haven't been carrying stuff around lately, oddly, but it's going to go right back in there. So that is my forgotten toys for this week. Next is my segment called the Toy Box, or a visit into my stash. Just like I like to visit my whips, I really like to visit my stash. It's inspiring. It keeps moths out by tossing it every once in a while. It reminds me of what I have, so that I'm less likely to impulse buy and buy things I don't need. So yeah, so this week from a visit from my stash, we are visiting some lovely Clara yarn. Yeah, Clara Parks started this yarn company, and the yarn is scrumptious. This is the CVM Romodel 2.0, and they're both undyed. I've got two, and the white is Arborio, like the rice, and this one is called Rye, which is kind of an oatmeal shade. And they're just scrumptious. They're fingering weight, and they're 2-ply, and there's about, I believe, about 425 yards per skein, 100-gram skein. And the thing is, I really, really wanted this yarn when she was talking about it, but I couldn't think of anything that I needed to knit out of this yarn. So, you know, racking my brain, if I'm going to get it, what am I going to use it for? And I came up with my immediate neighbor is pregnant, and they are going to have a baby in October. And it's a really big deal because, like us, they waited many years to be successful in getting pregnant. So it's been a long awaited baby. So I want to knit her a really special layette. And I'm going to do, I believe, Joji Locatelli's garter stitch kimono. And it's, one of those where one side and then the other side, so you can like lay it open, put the baby in, flap, flap, button it up, and you're good to go. So you don't have to do the pulling over the head, which I think with a baby is really difficult. So I'm planning to do that, and like I said, it's garter stitch, so for the body will be the cream, and then I saw a lot of people in their patterns in I-cord edging, which looks so sharp, and I think I'm going to do that in the rye. And then I'm going to make a hat, the Norwegian Sweet Baby Cap. It's that one with a little bit of a point, and it comes around and ties underneath, covers the ears and everything, and it's striped, and I thought, okay, perfect, and I can use the two colors. And then I'll probably make a pair of booties just in the rye, because my guess is by then I won't have any cream left. But I haven't picked out a baby blue pattern yet. So if you know of one, please leave it in the comments below. Or you can IM me on Ravelry. Because I know a lot of DK or worsted weight, but this is fingering, and it needs to be general neutral because they are not finding out the sex of the baby. So anyway, so I figured out what to knit out of it, so then I felt okay, and I went ahead and bought the yarn. So that's my latest in the stash right now. Okay, on to our next segment, which I call Ooh Shiny. And Ooh Shiny is distractions. Yes. When those, the new patterns get released on Ravelry, or yarn goes on sale, and yeah, that's what's distracting me. Okay, excuse me. So speaking of yarn, I bought this luscious yarn, Malabrigo Finito, and it is in the Anil colorway, which is exclusive to a yarn shop here in Minnesota. Now, I don't know if that's exclusive to She's the Only Shop in Minnesota, or if it's in the whole US, but Amazing Threads in Maple Groves carries it. And they do have a website, which I will link to, and you can buy it online. And it's gorgeous. It's this beautiful periwinkle, and this yarn is so, so soft. It's like cashmere. Knitting with it, I mean, it's round, it's spunky, it's really nice. My only fear is it's probably going to fuzz out like crazy. But I knit my mom, Melanie Berg's, Speaking of distractions, pretty much anything Melanie Bird puts out is a distraction. Her patterns are gorgeous. But I made her the Quist hat for Mother's Day. And she also has mitts. Now, my mother's not one to wear fingerless mitts, but I saw another Raveler, I believe her name was Vickiness, and she did gloves. And oh, they were gorgeous. What they did is, for the thumb gusset, there's a fake cable that comes up along the side, and then she carried it all the way up the finger. Just really, really well done, and I'm hoping to maybe do that for my mom in her birthday in October. But since it's a far time from October and I have a Father's Day gift that's due in January, this is distracting me. Also distracting me, Webs is having their 42nd anniversary sale, and let me tell you, they have some good deals. And one of the things they have a really great deal on is this Barocco Ultra, what is it? It's Ultra Alpaca, 50 wool, which is the yarn recommended for this blanket. You can see that. It's called the Liberty Blanket. Fair Isle. Crazy, I know. And it's in this Mason-Dixon knitting outside the lines. And the book's been around for a while. I found it at my library. And I just loved it. And Barocco has this beautiful, it's called Indigo Mix, which is this really beautiful dark navy blue that's kind of heathered, and then a lovely kind of a cream color. So as you can see over there, my curtains and kind of what I'm wearing. These are my colors, people. This would go perfect with my house. So I would just love this to like grace the back of my couch. But I mean, I don't know when I would get this done. I mean, a blanket in the summer, yeah, that's not going to happen. Sitting with hot, I mean, alpaca's hot. Come on, people. So I don't know when it would happen, but I'm really tempted. The yarn's like something like $4 off a skein. It's a crazy good deal. So I'm trying to fight it. We'll see if I last. But those are my distractions at the moment. And that brings me to the end of the podcast. So kind of short for starting out. You know, I thought I'd just see what's going, you know, how this would turn out, how if anybody would be interested, or if it's just me blathering on to myself, which, you know, I'm happy to do. But I'm hoping to expand my knitting community, and I really love doing things online and communicating with people online, and so I'm hoping this is a success. My husband, bless him, loves to ooh and ah over my knitting as best as somebody can who does not knit, but I think he would like a little break from my pestering him with every little thing I'm excited about. So anyway, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with me. I really, really appreciate it. And, you know, leave me a comment below if you like it, or PM me on Ravelry. My name is Simply Playing. Thanks very much. Have a great week, everyone.